On this page, you're going to see 4 icons of different places that I've been affiliated before. Linden State College on the bottom left there, where I played basketball and soccer, both in college. Northwestern University, where I earned my master's degree in athletic administration. The University of Vermont, where I worked with several of their Division I men's and women's programs. And NCSA, Next College Student Athlete, where I've been one of the senior recruiting coordinators here for now going on 5 years. This is all about you tonight, not about me, but obviously I just want you to know who is talking to you tonight. And again, Ryan Summers, I was a 2-sport athlete in college and co-captain. We were one of the top 25 teams in the country as a sophomore for basketball. I was recruited at higher levels of college for both sports, but ultimately I found the right home at a Division III school, and we're going to talk a lot about that tonight, picking the right schools for the right reasons for you guys. Worked with Division I athletes as an advisor for several years at the University of Vermont, and also with the women's basketball program. I was a college basketball play-by-play and color commentator for a company called the Northeast Sports Network. Graduated from Northwestern University with a master's in athletic administration, and again, I've been one of our senior recruiting coordinators here for going on 5 years. So, who is NCSA? This is the largest NCAA-approved recruiting organization in the world. Going on 17 years. There's over 300 of us that are former college coaches or athletes. We call ourselves either scouts, recruiting coordinators, or recruiting specialists. Nearly 600 employees here. Okay, so it's a very, very large website. 41,000 plus active college coaches for 29 NCAA sports, men's and women's. In the month of June alone, this website received 3,000 roster openings from college programs. What are they looking to fill? They give it to us, and then the students on here that match what they're looking for are the kids that they know to reach out to. In 2016, there was 5 million plus student athlete profile views. 100,000 student athletes all time using the NCSA network have committed to college, and the average being $17,000 a year in scholarship and financial aid packages. So that's not just athletic money, that's academic, merit, need-based, everything combined. Here's the big thing, and I know there's a big burning question, and I love to absolutely take it by the horn. Is there a cost for NCSA? You can have an active profile on this website with no financial commitment. You can have an active profile, which means a coach can find you and they'll see your name pop up as a match, and it's better than nothing. Very much like LinkedIn for student athletes. This is the first stop shop for college coaches to be able to put their recruiting list together. Yes, there is additional help if you want it, but that's not a requirement. It doesn't hurt our feelings if you don't use it. It's a good idea to know what that option is because it's by far the best communication tool for a student athlete and a parent. So there's a lot of different levels to this. There's something for every family from every demographic. We make sure of that. But again, at the very least, you can have an active presence on here. And I highly suggest if you're on here because you're hoping to play in college someday, that you have a basic presence. You're going to make this a lot harder on yourself if you do not. Okay. First thing I want to do, for those of you that are on here tonight, let's get a little bit interactive. First, I see somebody else that came in from Texas, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. Laturani, welcome Laturani. Came in a little bit after some of the other people. Okay. First thing I want to do, student athletes that are on here. I just want to get an idea of who's on here tonight. Are the students on here because they think they have the ability to play in college and they would like to do that someday? Type me. Just M-E if you are a student athlete and you're on here. You think you have the ability to play in college and you would like to do so. Type me. All right. I'm interested to see how many parents are on here. Parents that are on here tonight, if you're on here tonight because you are the parent of a student athlete who wants to compete in college and you want to avoid the nightmare of trying to figure out how to pay full tuition for college, go ahead and type parent, just so we can get an idea of who the parents are that are on here tonight. Interesting. Okay, we got a lot more students than we do parents tonight. Very cool. Okay, so topics for the workshop tonight. First, I'm going to start with recruiting education, best practices for using and leveraging the basic NCSA profile, how to target the right schools academically and athletically. One of the worst things you want to do is be targeting the wrong schools. We all dream about going to Duke and Kentucky and UCLA and UConn, and I hope that works out for all of you, but make sure you know where the right fit schools are. That's what this website's for. So we're going to go over how to use the basic site to its full advantage. Tonight, Special, we're going to be going over basketball highlight film, guidance, how to edit and sequence your film, what are coaches looking for. And then optional, I'm going to go over some of the premium aspects of NCSA. Everyone should be on the basic site again. Some choose to upgrade, and we can go over the qualifications for that again. Doesn't hurt our feelings if you don't. You might want to look into it, though, if you are a serious family about your student athlete getting recruited, because recruiting is not just about being a good student athlete. It's about how you're communicating. And if you're not doing that, that's like having a really good resume and never sending it out to anybody and hoping you get hired. It makes it very, very difficult, especially in the digital age that we live in. And then I'm going to open it up for a Q&A session at the very end of this. So the next thing I want you all to do, so I can get an idea of what the makeup is again in here. Tina says, can you speak any louder? Is anybody else having a hard time hearing me? Could somebody please type in and let me know if you're having a hard time hearing me? I might have a second set of headphones I can use. Somebody could just type in, let me know they can hear me clear, or if it's not loud enough, please let me know. Before we go on, I want to make sure you all can hear me. Ethan says it's clear. Perfect. Okay. Sounds good. Everybody can hear me clearly. Yep. So I'm going to type to Tina real quick. All right, awesome. So what I want you all to do is type in either college prospects. So you can type CP. That means you are on varsity, preferably club team as well. AAU, you're doing everything you can in the classroom, ready to get to work. That means you are a college prospect right now. A likely prospect, unsure if colleges would be interested yet, but trying to do the right things to improve as an athlete and getting good grades. You'll notice both of them say getting good grades. That's most important. I see, for the most part, we have college prospects on here. That makes sense why you would be interested in learning about your highlight film and some likely prospects, everybody that is trying to get ahead. Awesome. Okay. So next thing I'm going to ask you all to do, let's hold off on asking questions until the very end, until the Q&A session, because there's a good chance I'm going to answer some of the questions that you have. Hopefully you all brought a pen and paper, like I suggested. But certainly going to get through a lot tonight, and hopefully I answer a lot of your questions. And then let's just hold off on typing into the chat box so that I can get through the presentation and make good use of everybody's time tonight. So recruiting education. First off, does hearing from a few schools mean that I am being recruited? Probably not. It means a couple coaches know that you exist. It's very obvious when you're being recruited. Coaches are talking to you about their positions they're looking to fill, scholarship money that they have, talking about how many other kids they're recruiting. So when I hop on the phone with a parent or with a student athlete and I say, what schools are you hearing from? And they tell me, oh, I'm hearing from all kinds of schools. And I say, which coaches? And they say, oh, no, just admissions offices. That means you're hearing from admissions office, not the college coaches, okay? So it becomes very obvious that's what this website is for. It's your communication center to keep track of all the communication you've ever had with college programs from each school. Is walking on an option? Yes, but it's not a very good one. Because now a coach is getting you for free. You get to pay full tuition. And I don't know if you've seen what tuition looks like these days, but it's not nice. Okay, so is walking on an option? Yes. But one, you're paying full tuition. Two, you're probably playing at a school that's a little bit above where you should be playing anyways. And lastly, most people on campus aren't even going to know that you're on the team. They know the starting 5, 6, 7, and regardless to what level you're on, it's a pretty cool thing to be able to walk around campus as a recognizable person. So think about that when you're trying to figure out what level it is you want to play at. And just because you play at a smaller school does not mean you're less of a player. And certainly we're going to get into that tonight. Okay. Guys, take recruiting into your own hands. These are some of my biggest pet peeves. If you go to a big high school where a lot of players go on to play in college, and that means you're getting in front of schools, that doesn't mean you're getting in front of the right schools. I had a perfect example of that today with a mother from Texas. Her son's going to a 6A school. They've got 4 kids already going to play D1. And wouldn't you know it, there isn't a college coach in the country that knows about her son, and he's been starting there since he was a sophomore. Kid's putting up 14 points a game at a 6A school in Texas since he's a sophomore, and not a coach in the country knows who he is, because when a college coach comes to look at the players that they're there to look at, that's who they're there to see. They're not there to discover somebody new. So just because you play at a really high-profile school, that does not mean the right schools are looking at you. Some schools might be looking at you, but there's a lot out there. If you have someone who does recruiting for you, you are limiting yourself to the contacts that they have. And they might send a lot of kids to the same 10, 12 schools. There's 1,800 that have college basketball. That's what the world, that's why the world relies on digital websites. Just like if you're looking for a job, you probably don't fly to each town and look in the local newspaper. You go online, you see who's hiring. It's much easier. So the biggest thing again is make sure that you have a digital presence. Okay, where you should all be right now. So I've charted this out a little bit. I won't go through all of this, but just to give you guys an idea, and I'm going to read this off if it's really small for you. Likely prospects. So underclassmen right now, player development, meaning that you're going to camps, you have coaches, one-on-one instruction, that sort of thing. That doesn't mean you're getting recruited. It means you're working on yourself as a basketball player. Gaining realistic feedback on schools to target. Again, that's what the NCSA website is here for, educating yourself on the timeline and tactics for reaching out to colleges, okay? Upperclassmen, if you're a likely prospect but you're not sure if coaches would be interested in you yet, schedule a recruiting assessment here. I'm going to show you all how to do that at the very end of this, just so you have a really good idea of where you're at. You should be collecting as much footage as possible. You should be gaining an understanding of how you are going to communicate with your target schools. Don't just blast them with emails from your own personal email. Most coaches aren't going to read that. They don't know who you are. They don't know why they're getting another email from somebody saying how wonderful they are, okay? College prospects, if you're an underclassman, you're on here, you're below a junior right now, and you said that you are a college prospect, you're on varsity, you're playing AAU, schedule an assessment like yesterday. The earlier you start this, and we cannot explain this any better until you go through this as a family and then you realize it when your friends start hearing from schools and you're not, schedule an assessment as soon as you can, get a realistic idea of what types of schools you should be reaching out to, collecting footage right now, and building your profile as best as you can. The more schools that are following you now, the more schools are going to contact you when they can. And one of my biggest pet peeves is when somebody says that coaches can't do anything. They can't contact you until you're a junior. First of all, that's not true for men's basketball. Second of all, that's just untrue, period. They can contact your coaches and say, have that family give me a call. I'll be waiting for their call at this time. And they can talk to you all day long about recruiting. They just can't be the one to dial the phone. But they're also not just going to do that without a reason. So that's what having your online presence is for. Upperclassmen, you should already have 50 schools minimum that know you exist. You should have coaches that are giving you feedback on your highlight film at this point, and you should be leveraging offers. So that's where you all should be. Important dates to know. First day of class, freshman year, you are now technically a recruitable athlete by NCAA standards. That's for the girls that are on here. Several exceptions. Men's basketball, 7th grade now is when you are technically a recruitable athlete. That does not mean anyone expects you to pick a school or a major at this point. That's way too much pressure. That's not what this is about. This is not about putting that kind of pressure on you all to pick a school at this age. As a freshman, as a 7th grader, it's just about making sure that college coaches know that you even exist and that you might want to play in college someday. And NCSA, this is not public information. It's used for college coaches to look at. Again, most college coaches are not going to be looking at kids 7th grade, but they do start putting their 8th grade prospect list together. We already have a pile of roster openings from college coaches at the Division I level, letting us know what positions they're looking to fill in that 2022 class. 8th graders, as crazy as that sounds. June 15th, following your sophomore year for boys, all divisions, college coaches will begin contacting students that they've been following. They don't just reach out to you the day they can start contacting you. If you don't have any idea if someone's going to be contacting you and you're hoping you've got your fingers crossed, probably not going to happen. And that's where, again, when the parent tells me how recruiting works and they say, oh, coach can't even contact us yet, I can tell them all day long, but they'll believe me once it happens. When the day comes that a college coach can start finally calling all the kids they've been following and reaching out to their coaches, and all of a sudden their friends are, and they're not starting to hear from schools. So that's just, it starts early. Never had a parent say we started too early. Way too many say we started too late. I hosted a class last night just for seniors, and the conversations I had today made me kind of sad, but there's still time for that senior class. They got to get moving. September 1st for the girls that are on here. First date, college coaches can start contacting you. Again, they're not going to just start contacting you out of nowhere. They need to be following your page. They need to have heard of you. They need to have somehow understand that you are someone that can help their program. The easiest way to do that is by sending them a verified resume. That's what this is. Okay, early signing periods. If we have any seniors on here, coming right up next month. Regular signing periods around tax time, okay, in April. And it goes right up till August. So for those of you that are seniors that are on here, again, you're not too late, but you really got to get moving. All right, we're going to get into the highlight film stuff in just a minute. I just want to make sure to get through a few of these recruiting education slides here that I think are really, really important. This one I think is as important as any. And again, I'm going to drink some tea real quick. Give me a second. It's been a long week of talking on the phones. So everybody, understand the right way and the wrong way to use social media. Okay, this is so important. There's not a faster way for a kid to lose a scholarship, for a coach to all of a sudden lose interest in somebody. They're trying to protect their job. They have very limited money that they can spend on athletes. And the second they hear your name and they might be interested in you, they're going to go looking for you online, Facebook, Instagram. They're going to try to see if they can find anything that they don't want to know about you. And as soon as they see something, you're gone. Okay, it's not all bad, but there's good ways and there's bad ways to use social media. Great example of a bad way to use social media. I was on Instagram last year during football season, NFL, and there was a forum that I commented something about my favorite team and didn't think anything of it. I do a lot of work for NCSA social media, so you'll get my handles at the end of this. I'm happy to follow you back. If you guys want to follow, whatever. I don't really know all the lingo yet, but I do a lot of work with it. A student athlete saw that I had made a comment on the football team that I cheer for, which I will not name just in case it's not popular. But he started cursing me out, and it was pretty nasty. And I looked at his Instagram profile, and it says men's basketball prospect class of 2019. So I direct messaged him, let him know, hey, I'm probably one of the last people you want to be, cursing out right now. I happen to hold a lot of information that helps students connect with the right college programs. So I reached out to him, reached out to his parents, and ended up becoming a pretty funny story. A good relationship. It was a great learning experience for him, but that's an awesome example of what not to do. If your parents, your grandparents would not approve of what you have on Facebook, on Instagram, go in there tonight and get rid of it, okay? You have no idea who's looking at that stuff. You need to set your settings so that kids can't just tag you in anything. You don't even have to be the one holding one of those red solo cups at a party. If you're in the background of some kid that's doing that and a coach comes across it, anybody that works at the school happens to see it, your scholarship is toast. So that is the wrong way to use social media, but it's not all bad. But definitely go clean it up tonight if you can. The right ways to use social media. You can follow some of your favorite coaches. Maybe like some of the stuff that they post. Don't be annoying about it, but like some of the stuff that they post. Maybe have a link to your NCSA profile. This is like your resume. For a lot of kids, it's the first impression college coaches have of you. Have a link in your Facebook or your Instagram header so that college coaches can wonder who you are. Maybe they click on that and all of a sudden they're following your NCSA page. That's the whole point, is you're trying to get as many college coaches to follow your NCSA page, which is kind of like your resume to keep updated over the years. Okay? So that's always one of my favorite slides. Now what you've all showed up here tonight for, highlight film do's and don'ts. This might be a small picture for what you're looking at right now, but you should see this young man with a basketball in his hand, and there's an orange arrow pointing to him. That is what is called a spot shadow. One of the biggest pet peeves, and I can tell you firsthand, one of the biggest pet peeves for a college coach, if they go to look at your film and they have no idea what kid you are on the floor, they're just watching a basketball game, they are turning it off faster than you can imagine. So spot shadow is a really, really important feature, okay? Guys, we have a bunch of questions coming in still, and one thing I would ask, again, please make sure to hold questions till the end. I'm probably going to get through some of this stuff, so just make sure to hold questions till the end, okay? Why is video so important? Before a college coach is going to take the time to come and look at you in person, you have to get their attention, especially if you play at a school where not a lot of college coaches come to take a look. Again, there was a point that I made earlier that you might be flying under the radar even at a really high-profile school, but it's so important to have video, because as a college coach, if I hear of somebody sent me an email and somebody says, hey, this kid's really good, you should take a look. I go to look online and all I can see is a blank profile. There's no video. It doesn't mean a whole lot to me, okay? It's way too easy for coach to pull up your video now. So you've got to have proper video. Relying on a showcase or high exposure travel teams means that you are limiting yourself. They are wonderful if you're using them correctly, but way too many families tell me that they have a lot going on in recruiting because they pay all kinds of money to be on a high profile team. Wonderful. What coaches are you hearing from? We're not. That means you're not getting recruited. You're paying a lot of money to be on a high exposure team, great, but you're just getting in front of the college coaches that happen to be at your tournaments that are there to probably look at somebody else's kid. Again, you've got to be sending a resume. You've got to have film. There's way too much pressure on you to perform at your best the day that a coach happens to be at one of your games. And if that is your make it or break it moment and you don't have the best game and you're just spent a whole lot of money on going to that tournament or that showcase, too bad, okay? Coaches need to watch you develop as a basketball player. So that's why you start early with this. They start looking at your film when you're an 8th grade freshman, sophomore, whenever you first make varsity or you're playing at AU, that's when they're going to want to start watching your film. Okay. Once that's happened, now they know who you are. And when you know that they are going to be at some of the tournaments and this is a school that you're actually interested in, now you have yourself a game plan because now you're on their watch list when they show up there. But just going to tournaments and hoping that a coach happens to notice you, just playing for a high-profile AAU team does not mean you're getting recruited. It gives you a huge advantage as far as college coaches being in the off-season, being able to come take a look at you, but that doesn't mean that you are necessarily getting recruited or even getting in front of the right schools. Another really good point with AAU, it can be wonderful because coaches, it's in the off season for them, so they can come watch, but a lot of that time is also dead periods for them where they can't come watch. So it's kind of a catch-22, but again, all the more reason you need to have an online presence so that college coaches can watch you develop and keep track of you. Keys to good video. I hope you brought your pens and paper like I told you. Number 1, that's not me yelling at you, but it is in cap locks. Turn your music off. The second we go to look at video, and all of a sudden it is some god-awful thing we can't even imagine why anybody would listen to it. The fastest thing, mute. That's what's going to happen. And that is one of the biggest turnoffs for a college program. I know when you go to look at LeBron and Steph Curry and everybody's wonderful highlights, they got some sweet music to the background. Well, that's professionally done, for NBA marketing purposes. But for you to get your video in front of a college coach, turn the music off. They don't need it. You're going to spend way too much time trying to pick the right song, and they're going to turn it off anyways. 4 to 5 minutes in length, 20 to 25 clips. Update it every 3 to 6 months. My rule of thumb, when you are a 8th grader and a freshman, it's every 6 months. When you are a sophomore, junior, senior, it's every 3 months. Why is that? Because you are now showing you're now showing a less talented version of yourself if you have 3-month-old video. Hopefully you've improved. Okay? Make it obvious which athlete you are. Spot shadow. There's got to be a way to indicate which kid you are on the floor. Otherwise, a coach is just looking at a basketball game and they don't have time for that. Make sure it is highlighting your strengths and what you are advertising yourself as to a college coach. What do I mean by that? If you are a center, you are a forward, and your entire clip is you shooting 40-foot threes, it's not really going to help your case. It's not showing what a college coach wants to see you do. Why are you able to help their program? Some of this might sound really obvious, but some of this is really good for you to hear. Okay, by position, I'm going to do this for you guys real quick. Point guards. I love my point guards. That's what I did in college. We need to see in your film on-ball defending, how well you move your feet. If your high school coach makes you play zone, I'm sorry for you, because when you get to college, you better know some man-to-man principles. How well you push the ball, okay? Coaches want to see, how well you orchestrate an offense and a fast break. Ball handling against pressure. The biggest difference that you all are going to find between high school and college basketball is how strong defenders are. Ball handling against pressure is a huge thing to show in your film. That doesn't mean dedicate an entire minute to it, but if you have a couple clips that show you getting past somebody that's putting some pressure on you, that's a really, really big thing. For point guard, your change of speed, okay? When you're in a little bit of a stall and then you make a fast move past somebody, that really stands out to a college coach. They can see your ability to get all over the floor. Distributing and passing ability. Obviously, that's a big trait that a point guard needs to have. You need to highlight that in your film, how well you set up the other players on your team. Shooting. Point guards obviously can shoot too. They don't have to pass the ball all the time. Coaches want to see that. Huge part, guys. Point guards, show some hustle plays. Show you diving on the floor one time in there. And get that in your film early, so coach, you've already won their heart over, okay? And then obviously high IQ plays. This all needs to be in your film as a point guard. Okay. Somebody else just asked a question, please. Let's hold questions till the very end. We're going to get through a lot of this. What to show by position: wings, shooting guards, small forwards. I don't even think we call them shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards anymore, or centers. It's just point guards, wings, and forwards at this point. But we'll call them wings, shooting guards, small forwards. On and off ball defensive plays. So, obviously you're going to be guarding your man on the ball as well. But some plays where maybe you come off ball and get a steal. That's great stuff. And you notice that my tips on here have started with defensive plays first. Now, that's not always going to be the case, but it's really nice if you have a full play that you started or created defensively. Really gets the coach's attention right off the bat. The ability to create your own shot. What do I mean by that? For those of you that watch Steph Curry, I wish we could all play like him. But for those of you that go to the gym and you stand in one place and you dribble, and then shoot, and you're not getting anywhere, you're not losing your defender, that's not what I'm talking about. The ability to create your own shot is somebody that's good at running off picks, somebody that can catch the ball, one dribble move, and pull up. That is how you create your own shot. That's what college coaches are looking for. They don't want to see the millionth kid that thinks they're Steph Curry that's just dribbling between their legs in front of somebody and not getting anywhere. That's not creating your own shot, okay? Moving without the ball. As a shooting guard, as a forward, you are somebody that the defense has got to keep an eye on, and you need to showcase to yourself, to a college coach, how well you move without the ball. So some of your clips maybe are a clip where you hit a shot, where you ran off a series of picks. That's great to put in your highlight film. Slashing, cutting, timing. So hopefully you all play for wonderful high school coaches that have a wonderfully orchestrated offense. But any play that you can show where you just lose your defender because of a well-timed cut to the hoop, you are going to win that coach over as well if you are a wing. A wide range of shooting, some 8-10 footers is great. The mid-range game is lost. Obviously, if you're a three-point shooter, that's great. But if a coach comes to take a look at your film and the first 3 minutes is just you banging threes, we get it. You hit threes. Next, what else do you do? Coach doesn't want to just see that. We get it. We can look at your stats and see how many threes you made in a game, in a year. And after showing me 3-4 clips of that, I understand how good of a shooter you are. I can see your form. I can see how explosive you are, how well you separate yourself from your defender. So a wide range of shooting is really important. Ability to run the baseline. As a shooting guard and a small forward, again, you're working without the ball a lot. A lot of offenses run with a point guard and a big man in the high post running some sort of a pick, and you are doing a lot of off-ball cutting, trying to get off picks. Ability to run the baseline, especially breaking a zone defense, is really, really important. So running the baseline. Finishing in traffic and at the hoop. Showing a coach that you're not scared to come into those bigs, come right into their chest and finish. That is huge to put in your film. Hopefully this is really helpful. Hopefully you all are able to write this down, and I am more than happy to send this out to anybody that wants it. What to show as our bigs: rebounding, boxing out, crashing the O board, the offensive boards. Do you actually crash, or does everyone take a shot on your team and you just stand there and watch and hope it goes in? Crashing the O boards, okay? Ability to protect the hoop. That's a great way to start your highlight film. If someone's coming in the paint and you swat that thing back to half court, coaches really like to see that. Ability to extend your shooting range. If you're someone that just stays 6 feet to the hoop and that's what you're told to do, then God bless you, that's what you're told to do. My dad was coaching in high school, and he told his center, don't even dribble when you're taking a free throw. You're not allowed to dribble the ball. So extend your shooting range. If you are someone that's able to step out and hit 10, 12 footers, maybe even three-pointers. Go ahead and show that, but don't highlight that as all you have to offer as a big. Unless you're one of these Euro players that like Dirk Nowitzki, that's all you do. But again, that's, coach is going to get it in about 4 or 5 clips that you can hit threes. Next, what else do you do? Footwork, post moves. For those of you that watch basketball, I'm going to pick on somebody real quick, and I hate to do this. Dwight Howard, don't watch him for footwork. There's a guy named Akeem Olajuwon back in the day. Google him, YouTube that. Coaches want to see how well your footwork, how good your post moves are and how good your footwork is. So you need to have some clips that show you losing a defender with maybe a pump fake or two, okay? Finishing through contact. Really good to have this in your highlight film. When somebody comes up and gets a hard foul on you and you still finish, that is something you want to make sure is in your film. Starting a fast break with an outlet pass. That will win a coach over all day long. Don't have 10 clips of that, maybe 1 or 2, but getting a big rebound and outlet to your point guard, and if you stand there and watch the play, they're moving on to the next person, because the next thing you want to do, you see me with an exclamation point in caps, running the floor, big man, get down the floor. And if a college coach sees you doing that in your highlight film, you better believe that phone's going to be ringing. That is a coach's dream. Okay. Show all aspects of your game. Your film needs to be varsity and or AAU. College coaches do not want to see you just messing around with your friends or rec ball. When a student sends me film and it's them out at the playground and they're stepping on a milk crate to dunk the ball and hoping that means they're going to get recruited, with a lot of feedback for them. So, it sounds like common sense, but you'd be surprised. Don't show yourself just shooting and just scoring. Again, I cannot tell you how many highlight films I've seen where a kid asks me, for feedback, and it's 3 minutes of him hitting threes. And I tell him the same thing every time. In 15, 20 seconds, 3 or 4 clips, I can already tell that you hit threes. What else do you do? And that is so important for college coaches to know. This is the biggest thing for those of you that are parents here, that you are the dedicated videographer for your daughter or your son. The clip needs to show the whole play. Do not cut it so short that a coach can't watch a play develop. So if all of a sudden something happened and then it just cuts really quick to a fast break and somebody's making a layup, I have no idea. I didn't watch you run the floor. I didn't see where your man was. I didn't see the play develop. The best thing you can do is film the whole thing and cut it down later. And a rule of thumb for those of you that film, when in doubt, zoom out. Okay? The don'ts. Don't start your clip, start your clip with one of your best plays. Don't start with a play that makes a coach wonder why they should watch more. I've seen highlight films come in where I'm literally watching the team shaking hands and the refs coming in to throw the ball up in the center to start the game. Like, why are we watching this? The first thing, when you watch somebody, I'll give you an example of a kid a few years ago, Andrew Wiggins, who's now in the NBA, and he had one of the best highlight films ever. The first 2 plays that you saw of him with his recruiting film was him breaking a man down, coming in, and just absolutely 2-hand flush. Now, obviously, that's not going to be all of us, but he's got somebody's attention when you do that. So you want to start with some of your best plays and sequence it so that your best plays are at the front and make coaches want to keep watching, okay? Do not create a long introduction before you get to the film. Make a coach want to keep watching. If it looks like Star Wars at the beginning and it's scrolling for 15 minutes telling us about all the Boy Scout of America honors, things that you do, and that stuff's wonderful. Get that on your resume, not in your film. 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and it better just be clips, and it better be good stuff that coaches want to see. Don't include highlights of your game that you won't be using in college. Example, again, if you're a forward and your entire clip is you shooting threes, a coach is going to have a pretty good idea of what's important to you. Okay? So it sounds pretty straightforward, but a lot of that is information that you need to have. Again, guys, please save questions for the very end of this. I don't want to stop to answer questions so that we can make good use of everybody's time here. Full game video versus highlight video. This is the burning question everybody asks, and I need another sip of tea real quick. You need both. I cannot tell you how many times I've hopped on the phone and someone tells me, oh, well, my coach says you don't need a full game. You just need highlight. And someone else says you don't need highlight. You need full game. Coaches know that that's you at your best. You need both, because a coach does not want to watch a full game of somebody they've never heard of. They're not going to sit down for an hour and a half just because you were nice to send them a full game. Okay, they're not going to do that. However, they do want to see a full game of the kids they're interested in. How do you get them interested? Same way you get interested in going to watch a movie at the movie theater. You probably saw a movie trailer. You heard about it. You have an idea of what you're going to see. Now you're interested. Now you want more. That's what your highlight film is for. Then you have your full game, and you can upload both onto your NCSA profile, and it's marked so a coach can say, all right, God, I don't want to just sit here and watch a full game. And for those of you that have this luxury, okay, it was a long time ago that I was in your shoes coming up through high school, and I used to send coaches what's called a VHS tape in the mail. I used to get an allowance from my parents and stick that thing in the mail, and the poor coach had to fast forward and rewind it and try to figure out what kid it is. It's a lot different now, and hopefully some parents are laughing about that, because that you can probably relate, and some kids probably don't even know what a VHS is anymore. You guys have it pretty good, but coaches just don't take the time to do that anymore. Once you have their attention, then they'll take a look at you for an entire game. Now a coach knows who you are. They're interested. Now they might come watch you play live. That is the ultimate goal. You want coaches to come see you play live. Anyone that tells you that you don't need to have an online presence, it's all about getting in front of coaches live, I can't. I can't even do it anymore. You know, it's one of those things where a coach has no reason to come look at you unless you're on their watch list. So it's all about getting coaches to come watch you play live. And yes, that's the ultimate goal, but how you get them to do that is so different now because of how easy it is for coaches to just put their list together online. Okay. Posting and sending your film. Use YouTube or Huddle on your NCSA profile. You can all embed one video already right now, tonight. You can do that. Know the risk of emailing from your personal email account. When you send emails to college coaches and they've never heard of you, they don't know who you are, they don't know why you're sending this to them, 9 out of 10 times it's not getting opened, and that is a really frustrating thing for you. So what's the workaround? That's what the website is for, again, okay? We had a great example of a dad. He took a month off from work, a month, because his son needed help with communicating with college coaches, and he refused to use the NCSA website. For a month, he emailed every college coach at the Division I level that he could find online, and he heard back from 3 schools, and they told him, we'll keep you in mind. Not time well spent, okay? He's probably not looking at a realistic level of schools for his kid, A. B, he's sending that from dad@gmail.com saying how wonderful his son is. Not the way to get your kid recruited, okay? You've got to know the risk of that. What happens on this website is a coach sets up the parameters. I only want to hear from kids that are shooting guards that are 6 foot, they're 6'2", and they have to have this GPA, and here's the 10 states I recruit from. And if you match what they're looking for and you email them from your communication center on here, now they can see that you're a high enough match for what they want, and much better chance they're going to open that, okay? Once you are communicating with schools that are a good fit, make sure they know when to expect your next film. Okay? Premium site. We're going to do it. We're going to get into it. We're going to show you guys. And anybody that's skeptical right now, I welcome it, because there are 650 people that work here, and we're all former college coaches or athletes, and there's a reason we're all here. So you should all be able to see this. We're going to do a girls basketball profile tonight, just so you can all see what this website looks like. This is the first impression most college coaches have of you, your NCSA profile online nowadays, okay? Again, if you do not have a basic page yet, you are making it way harder on yourself than you need to, and you need to get this thing at least activated. That's what the recruiting assessment is for. It's a phone call. It takes an hour with a student and both parents, if that's an option, at least one parent. And again, there's no financial commitment to that. We just want to know who's on here. We're happy to give you feedback. We're happy to give you a do-it-yourself plan for how to use the site. Some families upgrade. There's a lot of variations to make sure there's something for everybody. Not everybody does. Doesn't hurt our feelings if you don't. So I just want to make sure that that's really clear. because somebody inevitably tonight is going to say, what's the cost? Is there a cost? Yes, there are premium aspects, but that's up to you. Doesn't hurt our feelings if you don't need it. It's all stuff you're going to look into as a parent anyways, but it doesn't hurt our feelings if you don't use it. At least get your kids' page active. It gives them a much better chance of a coach finding you and reaching out on their own if they choose to. So here's the basic page, a resume, the easiest thing for a coach to look at and see everything they need to see about you at once. Not just seeing your name on a list saying that this kid's an All-American or that this kid's a good basketball player. They want everything, your video, your history, events, where you've played, where you're going to be playing, so they know where they can come watch you play live. Wink, wink. Personal statement. This is really important for a coach to be able to understand, how impressive you are, how well written you are. And this is something we will help you with. This is like having digital guidance counselors for your specific sport that you can contact and ask for advice on what this needs to look like before it goes out to anybody. And if you keep scrolling down, there's mom and dad's contact information and coach's information and your transcripts. So that's everything a college coach needs to know. That's your homepage. Get that part activated, and I will give you instructions all on how to do that later on here in just a few minutes. This is a tool that I cannot tell you how envious I am of all of you to have access to. This is your communication center. This is called the My Colleges section. This shows you what schools are searching for a player like you, have viewed your profile, have followed your profile, and have opened your emails. So if a coach has followed you, that means every time you update something on your page, they want a notification. And I have a very good family friend who his son's been using this since he was a freshman. He's a senior now, has about 200 schools that have come across his page. He's been in real contact with about 30 to 40 of them, and he just narrowed it down to his top 5 the other night. He's got offers. That is such a big deal for a lot of you. Just playing for a high-profile team, again, doesn't mean that you're getting recruited. If you're not communicating, that doesn't mean you're being recruited. So this is a matching algorithm, very sophisticated. There's like 50, 60 developers here. And the algorithm takes 3 pieces of information into consideration, and it is what your athletic ability is. We're going to get a really good idea of, the competition you play against, what's realistic for you. We're going to let you set up your preferences on here so that the right type of schools academically, size-wise, geographically are all part of that matching factor. And you update it so that you get new matchings, if you change what major you're looking for and that sort of thing. So that's number 2 is what's important to you. Number 3 is what the coaches are looking for. So when a coach says, I need a shooting guard, and here's the exact criteria, and that school has the major you're looking for, and it's something that is realistic for you athletically, that's going to be a high match school. And this website is literally going to show you every school in the country that offers men's or women's basketball, what your match percentages is with that program. So before you parents start driving all over the country or flying all over the country to visit campuses just to see if your kid likes the feel of the campus, make sure you have a good reason to go there because, hey, these 10 schools were a 95 and up % match for my kid. Emails opened. You see over on the far right there. Okay. When a coach opens your email, you're going to get notified of that. That is such a big deal. That is one of the biggest advantages to having this page. Because I'm sure a lot of you have sent emails to coaches because somebody told you to and you didn't hear back from most of them, or they said, we'll keep you in mind. Here's one of the biggest things though, roster openings. So this might be kind of small for you guys right now, but this says 1 through 25 of 1,606. And that's not roster openings, that's pages of roster openings. So this is what lets you know what each coach is looking to fill each graduation year. They send us this information, and then they typically get pretty specific with exactly what they're looking for. Let's see if this is a good example. Great. So this school tells us exactly what the ACT, the SAT, and the GPA minimum is to even get in there, okay? For parents that are on here that maybe have a student that's not getting it done in the classroom and needs a little motivation, maybe they don't hear, they're not quite listening when mom and dad tells them why grades are important. This is one of the biggest motivational factors for a student is all of a sudden it's not mom and dad saying it anymore. It's a college coach saying, hey kid, we're interested in you, but your GPA is 2 points lower than where it needs to be to play for us. Now all of a sudden the kid's got a little extra motivation. You'll find out, okay? Find colleges. You already have access to this tool. You guys should be using this. Let's pick California, Arizona, Texas, Florida, a couple of the really popular states. And let's say your kid wants to study broadcasting. That just pulled up a list of every women's basketball program in those 4 states that has her major match level, and now you know what schools are the highest match for what she's looking for. And that's what we do in that recruiting assessment. I just pulled up a list of 242 schools. Okay, so for those of you that say, I'm talking to a couple of college programs, this is going to make it a lot more real for you. And it's just about having leverage. When you can confidently say to a college coach, I have 20 schools looking at me, versus, I don't have anybody looking at me, coach, but I want a scholarship. Well, why would I give it to you if nobody else is interested? Okay, but that's the reality of this. So now let's just pull up this list for you guys, and then you go here to the inbox, and you'll be able to see the coach's contact information so that you can email them directly. And when they get that email, they know how high of a match you are for their program. And again, if anybody is skeptical at this point, one more thing that's really fun to do. Let's go ahead and choose this school. Whenever you go to research a school, on the bottom right, it is going to show you what students we have placed at each program. So that is my demo for the premium site. Here's what I'm going to do now. My contact information is right here. Write it down. Email address, office phone number. Again, I'm happy to connect with you guys on social media, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. I'm not wonderful at it, but I try to do a lot of it for us. So by all means, go ahead and reach out. Your next step. For those of you that are on here tonight that said that you are either an athlete wanting to play in college or a parent of an athlete that wants to play in college, and you don't take this next step, I don't know how else to help you. The biggest thing I can do to help you guys to expedite this is you've got to send me an email. And my email address is right there in blue, rsummers@ncsasports.org. Okay? So, likely prospects, if you want to, you can stick around for the Q&A session. By all means, happy to answer any of your questions. However, you will most likely get a follow-up phone call from one of my recruiting coordinators. It's a 312 phone number. It's going to look like somebody from Chicago is calling you. That's where our main office is, but we are spread out all over the country in every different state. I, for example, am out in California. Okay. Current prospects, let's get to work. If you are a parent or with a parent, I'm going to repeat that. If you are a parent or with a parent, you can send me this email. All right. Students that are here by yourself, we'll contact you as soon as possible. It might be Saturday. It might not be tomorrow. I'm actually out for part of the day tomorrow, but I will try to contact as many of you as I can. Current prospects, email me this: student athlete's full name, sport and graduation year, city, state, and high school, parents' contact information, and then give me 2 options for a day, a night, or a weekend day that's going to work for you. And this is for your recruiting assessment. Your next step is to get your page at least activated. And I'm going to say this for the 5th time because somebody's going to ask me. That call, it takes an hour. It's with a student and at least one parent, but I always suggest both parents, not just basketball-wise, but who's going to be helping you with making that decision on the school academically as well. It takes an hour. The point of it is so that we're comfortable with your page being live, so that it keeps the credibility of the website, so that college coaches will actually want to keep using it like they do. With that call, we will give you a do-it-yourself plan. We will teach you how to use the basic site, and if nothing else, we will activate your page. The difference between where you are right now and an active page, a coach would have to type your name in right now if you have a basic site to find you. Once it's active, your name now starts popping up on a list for suggested athletes for those coaches when they type in their search criteria. They might start reaching out to you on your own. It's better than nothing, and you're going to have a lot better idea of what the recruiting process is going to be like and a timeline for it. So that's what the recruiting assessment is. We'll at least activate your page. No, there's not a financial commitment to that. Yes, there is additional help if you want it, and there's a lot of variations to that. A lot of families, single parents, students that qualify for reduced lunch at school. There's a ton of different variations to it to make sure there's something for everybody. The kids using this, again, average right now, have reported, and it was 20,000 kids last year in the senior class, reported an average of about $16,000 a year because this is very streamlined for them. So If you have not sent that email to me yet, again, that is your next step. I don't know how else to help you because that is what I think you're here for is to be able to kind of get some guidance and start moving forward in the right direction. So you should be sending me that email so that we can help you find a time for your family to get your recruiting assessment done, give you feedback, get you on your way, regardless to what level you want to use this on. At least give your kid a chance to be seen, give them visibility. That's what the assessment is for. Okay. So I'm going to leave that up there. I'm going to start answering questions. You should see on there there's some available times up for grabs as well. You can tell me, Wednesday nights or Sunday nights typically work for us, but if you see one on there that specifically works, I reserve some just for the people in this class for their assessment. That is your next step here, is to get the page active if it makes sense. It's not for everybody. We'll make sure of that. But let's go ahead and answer a few questions. I don't have time to answer everybody's. I'm sure there's a lot of you and only one of me, but I am going to answer as many as I can. And then, again, you should have emailed me anyways, so I'll be able to get back to you that way. What should we use to videotape highlights in games? An iPad, a digital video camera. Sal, everything nowadays takes good video. I mean, even your cell phone takes good video. But if you have an iPad, that's wonderful. If you have a digital video camera, great. But if you have one or the other, I would not go out to just buy the other one. They both take good film. How do you spot shadow? Vanessa, that's typically something you have to hire done. It's some sort of a program. Now, again, we have a video team here that I'm biased, but they do an amazing job. There's about 60 of them, and that's all they do all day long is just flip videos around for kids from all over the world. Crossover's great. Huddle's great. And then YouTube is where you're going to end up posting a lot of it. But typically that's something you're going to hire anyways to get done. Okay. The coach can't watch me anywhere except the videos. Raneem, yes, you're from the USA, or you're not from the US. So your entire recruiting process is going to be done overseas, and that's a little bit harder for you. However, it's very possible. I work with a lot of our international students. I actually just got back from New Zealand. They sent me down there to speak to a bunch of student athletes. They got a couple of really good basketball players coming up from down under. So, a lot of kids, from all over the world right now, they're starting to get a taste for, how do you get recruited? It's all about getting yourself in front of the right schools for the right reasons. Video is so important for you, Raneem. So shoot me an email. You play on the national team for Egypt. Awesome. Raneem, you absolutely are someone that should shoot me an email, and I'll do my best to follow up with you, or one of our recruiting coordinators will follow up with you as soon as we can, and we'll get you moving in the right direction with what you need to be working on. What footage of me making good pass decisions to make players open for shots good, even if they're missing? Malik, that's not the right attitude. This isn't about other people not finishing for you. Your job is to put your teammates in a position where they can hit shots. Not everybody's going to hit every shot. I missed a shot once. It's okay. It happens. I'm just kidding. I missed a lot of them. Your teammates are going to miss shots. You're going to miss shots. However, your footage needs to show a coach how well you set your teammates up. Eventually, they're going to knock something down for you. That's what you put in your highlight film, okay? Even if they don't, but you have a spot shadow and a coach can see your passing ability, and that's all you have, it's better than nothing. It shows a coach what your ability is for what you're highlighting, and that is your passing ability. What is the longest the highlight video should be, Vanessa asked. I had in there 4 to 5 minutes. 5 minutes is about as long as you're going to want that to be. Yep. What else do we have in here? All right. So, again, you all should have sent me that email by now. That is your next step for a parent or a student athlete, to get your page at least activated. We schedule a recruiting assessment for you. It's going to be really fun, interactive, and make things a lot more realistic for you as far as what to be working on. You need to send me that email with the student athlete's full name, sport and graduation year, city, state, and high school, parents' contact, and then give me a couple examples. If you can also include in there, I'm hoping you've filled out your profile a little bit, but if you can, send me like years of varsity experience, height, AAU team, that stuff's nice to know too. A couple other questions here, and then we're gonna have to resort to emails only. In the highlight video, should the opening clip be of the player introducing himself, or is that info attached to the email and the video is just court time? Thanks. Sal, a lot of people like the intro. I don't necessarily. That's your personal statement. And you can put some stuff at the very end, but I don't think it necessarily needs to be that. At the very end of your highlight film, maybe you can put like some season stats and that sort of thing. For a college coach, when they open up your video, they push play on your page. First thing they want to see is what they came there to see. Okay. Is it okay to post a short video of what footage you have for now and post a 4 or 5 minute one later? Yes, Malik, whatever you have for now is better than nothing. My season doesn't start for about 3 more weeks and I don't have any footage yet. So could I put one together throughout the season? Caitlin, that's the whole point. You're going to keep updating that. If you have film from last year, ask your coach to get some of that. But you can still activate your page, get through the classes here, get yourself moving in the right direction so that you hit the ground running, so that 3 weeks from now, when season starts, you're not just doing that stuff. You're ahead of it. You're ready for your film to just be sent in and clipped up. What should the introduction to your highlight video look like? It should look like your first play. The introduction to your highlight video, a coach should push play, and it should be the first play. That's it. Does your parent have to be with you when you first want to activate your account? 100%, Malik. Yes, we cannot do anything until a parent is with you. How do I make an NCSA email? Curtis, send me an email, all of you, and you should have done that anyways, because that's kind of the next step. That's how I help you expedite this. Shoot me an email, and I will help you with figuring out what the next step is going to be for you. It's different for everybody. I don't have the crystal ball answer, and if I did, we wouldn't have to be having this class tonight, because everybody's a little bit different. You're looking for something different. So hopefully that was really, really helpful tonight. Again, you should have all sent me that email by now. If you are trying to get your page, at least activated. For the current prospects, you're going to make it way harder on yourself if you don't activate it. To activate it, you got to send me that email. That's how we get you started. We're going to follow up with you guys either tonight. If you've told me a parent that's on here, you can tell me one of those times there, and keep in mind that central time that you're looking at when you send me what time works for you guys. Otherwise, we will follow up with you as soon as we can, and it'll be from a 312 phone number. There we go. I hope that was really helpful tonight. That was really fun. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and I will try to get back to you all as soon as I can. There's one of me. There's a lot of you. And everybody be safe. Clean up that social media, and we'll talk to you later. Hopefully we'll see you on another one of these webinars very soon. Bye-bye.